How good is this league? Seriously, the Premiership is just serving up serious entertainment. And I'm going to reflect on round 5 of the Premiership, which has just finished. I've been watching Leicester Tigers against Gloucester. I'm going to have a little touch upon each of the games, which the ones I watched live, I can talk about. The ones I didn't, I've caught up with. And I have to say, the entertainment level is off the charts at the minute in the Premiership. The big takeaways are that anybody can beat anybody. The salary cap has a massive part to play there, and it's something unique to the Premiership that, you know, the top 14 in France is the biggest league and the best quality overall. The URC has some outstanding teams and some brilliant matchups. The Premiership, the salary cap structure, the kind of tactics and coaching become even more important in that environment, and as a result, week to week, the matchups can flip and change, and it's so unpredictable. Well, I mean, either the Premiership's really unpredictable, or I know nothing about rugby, because I predicted that Sale Sharks and Exeter would win on Friday night. Wrong. I predicted that Harlequins and Bristol would both win narrowly. I was right on the margin of victory, wrong on both the results. Saracens and Bath won. And I did predict Leicester Tigers would win, but that was a lot closer than I thought, and it wasn't a guaranteed thing. So that the Premiership is just serving up a brilliant product right now. Lots to talk about on this one. If you love the Premiership like I do, drop a little thumbs up on the video. That really helps. Help me spread the word. It's just me. I'm Tim. This is Egg Chasers, and it's only me. No marketing budget, no corporate backing, no people in the background. It's just me, and I could do with your help to spread the word. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel. Leave your comment down below as well. And let's go through the games then. And Friday night, there's only one place to start, isn't there? Newcastle Falcons, 25 straight defeats. And I have been, and I think understandably, I'm not apologising for it or taking it back, very critical of Newcastle Falcons. They are operating well under the salary cap, and it shows, because the quality of their squad is not very good. What they do have is a whole lot of heart, a lot of guts in that performance on Friday night, and they were playing for each other, and that came through. And there were some big performances from Callum Chick, the captain. He deserves that, local lad. Jamie Blamire as well, and there were other great performances, but 25 straight defeats in a row. And a highlight of the night for me was this, which I don't think you get this in many other sports, to be honest. So with about 10 minutes left in the game, Steve Diamond goes down from his position in the little coach's box. And I've been to Newcastle Falcons a bunch of times, and on that side of the ground, it's a little stand, and people just stand down by the barriers, kind of old school fashion. Steve Diamond just went to get some messages onto the field himself. Didn't bother with the radio, just went and stood so he could shout at his players from the touchline. Ended up having a good old chat with this Exeter Chiefs fan. I mean, it's so good. And Steve Diamond, fair play, he's masterminded a win. What can they do with that? I don't think it will change the fact they're going to finish bottom of the table. But that's unless Exeter Chiefs finish below them, because that's the other side of this story, is Exeter look an absolute shadow of themselves. Last year, I mean, this is a low point for them in the Premiership. The Exeter story's been such a good one, having worked up from the Championship, got to the summit, won the Premiership, won Europe, and now they're in a rebuild. They've got a very young team. They're missing some key men like Henry Slade, but they should be doing better than that. And Rob Baxter will be very frustrated by that one. There are players that are better. I mean, he has to address the fact that their 9 and 10 are not good enough. And the game management of Newcastle was absolutely on top. Yeah, fantastic occasion and a really, really good win for Newcastle Falcons. We'll see how many more of those they get, but let's just enjoy that one. And I'm sure that those Newcastle Falcons players had a very big night in Newcastle on Friday, and well deserved. Jumping to today then, and the game that I've just watched, 29-26 it finished at Welford Road in the Slater Cup. And actually, before I talk about the rugby, I just want to talk about that, how fantastic Ed Slater, a former Leicester player, finished his playing career at Gloucester when he announced that he had motor neuron disease. The Slater Cup, every time these two clubs, they battle for that cup, and it's just, it's sad and tragic, and seeing Ed Slater deteriorate is hard to watch, but a lovely moment, and it says everything about rugby as well. Again, just like at Kingston Park in Newcastle, there's no other sports where you get that moment with Steve Diamond and a fan. The way that rugby does things like this, like the way it's supporting Ed Slater, something you have to love about our sport. And his two teams both went out and had a bit of a ding-dong performance in strong wins. And it looked like it was going Gloucester's way. They got themselves 19-8 up at half-time, with Max Llewellyn scoring 2 tries. And also, two Max Llewellyn tries, that was it, either side. Oh, and Freddie Thomas, that's right. And Ollie Hassel-Collins got one back for Leicester. But Gloucester's attack's looking really good. They are just punishing teams. When they get into the 22, they are scoring more often than not at the minute. In fact, more than any other Premiership team. They're converting when they get into the 22, well, them and Bristol. And they look like they've done a lot of work on their attack in the off-season, and it's paying off. And fair play, they are better this season than I was anticipating that they were going to be. Now, though, they are 3 defeats in a row. They've only won 1 game, but there's enough positives there that I think Gloucester fans will feel fairly optimistic about where the season can go. They've got a lot of quality players. They've got some guys that are coming back fit and available. And if guys like Valrapava Ruskin can stay fit, I think they could. I think they will take some scalps, especially at home. They will probably think they should have maybe seen off a win in Leicester, bearing in mind they were 19 points to 8 up. But Leicester kind of hit reset and brought the Leicester game in the second half. I thought that Andre Pollard was really good at controlling the game, particularly in that second half, kicking when it was on to kick, controlling territory, unleashing the players when they needed to. They went to the power game. There was a try from Josh Bassett, one from Dan Kelly as well. Oh, and Pollard himself scored from that 5-metre tap. So 3 tries in that second half before Gloucester got one back. A hat-trick try for Llewellyn. So both teams got try bonus points. Leicester get the full 5, however. And really, really good game. Really good game. I thought Leicester would be better than that, but I give credit to Gloucester for the way that they attacked, and Leicester will go away and want to be a little bit more robust in their defence going forward. There is only one more round of games, of course, before there's a whole month break from the Premiership for the international matches. So, well, we'll have a look at the table in a little bit, but that was a great game. My goodness me, the games on Saturday were unreal. Bristol 35, Saracens 37. Bristol, how do you cope if you're a Bristol fan? You must be ageing, getting grey hairs just like that, because last week you had the last-minute comeback victory to beat Exeter. This week you lose a lead in the final minutes, and that's so Bristol. We've seen it before in a Premiership semi-final against Harlequins. Your nerves must be absolutely shot. I love the way Bristol play. They are so much fun. Gabriel Ibatoye just shredding it up. AJ McGinty's playing brilliantly. Fitz Harding, what a baller of a rugby player he is. Harry Randall, it's just, when it clicks, it's amazing. And they've gone back to that DNA that was so good for them when they had Semi Randrandra and Charles Piatow, just all action. And they've gone for it. And they're missing a few key players, and they're playing so well. AJ McGinty will look back at some of the kicks that he missed, which could have been really, really influential. And Bristol as a whole will look back at how they did not close that game out. They were 32 points to 17 up. And even with 8 minutes to go, after Saracens had hit back once, they were 35-27 up. 8-point lead with 8 minutes to go. You should be able to close that out. But it's credit to Saracens. They snuck a win, late comeback. Alex Lazowski with the winning points, kicking it when there was boos from the crowd, under pressure, in the red. Elliot Daly there with the try, absolutely immense. Ibatoye as well will probably think he looks amazing in attack, but a bit of work to do in defence. I'd rather focus on the positives. And for the positives for Saracens were amazing scramble defence, always being in the fight, and just that kind of big game mentality that guys like Maru Itoje bring. Some big defensive sets led to that victory, and fair play. And the other game on Saturday, it was box office, back to back. Again, 2 points in it. Again, the away side sneaking it late on. This time Bath at Quins, and that will feel quite satisfying for Bath, because I think I remember it was the same fixture last year, and Bath deserved to win, and Quins snuck it. This one, Quins absolutely should have won this, and Bath probably will reflect they didn't play that well, but got the win. Well, no, not they didn't play well. They weren't the better team, but they won. And that is the characteristic of a team that go on and be champions. And Bath looked very, very tough to get that. And it's England players that are playing really well. I've already mentioned Elliot Daly for Saracens. Ollie Lawrence was brilliant again. Will Stewart looked good. And Charlie Ewells was excellent. Ted Hill, who cannot get a look in with England, he was great again. The pack generally really, really good. Finn Russell actually had a bit of an off day. Marcus Smith was great. So there's a lot of England players playing with great form. When Joe Marler came on, he shored up the scrum for Harlequins and got into Bath a little bit. But game management, again in those closing stages, a little bit like Bristol, kind of poor from Quins. Underhill, I haven't even mentioned him, he absolutely looked like he was trying to end Marcus Smith. And as an England fan, I was like, whoa, awesome tackle. Just take it easy there, Sam. Alex Dombrandt looked really good. I love the fact that I'm mentioning loads of England players that played really well. It was a back and forth game. Quins will feel like they should have won. They were the better team. Bath, that resilience is ace. Oh, Iskro, he looks really fun. There was Elizalde for Bristol and there's Iskro for Quins, two Argentinian Sevens players lighting it up this weekend. And Iskro, by the way, playing with two necklaces on, like he's B.A. Baracus from the A-team. Loved that match. 24-26, so good. 35-37, Bristol Quins. Saturday rugby was amazing. Let's go back to Friday night, where it was Saints against Sale. And I thought Sale would match up quite well against Saints, because Saints got beaten by Leicester comfortably last week, and Leicester have a big, powerful, gnarly pack. And I thought Sale would be bringing the same, and that Northampton wouldn't match up with the power game. As it was, could not have been more wrong. 47 points to 17. A beatdown for Saints, whose backline is absolutely immense. And everything came off for Northampton Saints in this one, and Sale had an off night. Sale at home are a force. Sale away from home, not nearly as good. And I looked at the back row, and I thought Curry, Dupree against Henry Pollock, Scott Young, and Angus Scott Young and Tom Pearson. I thought Sale have got a massive edge there. Bit more experience, bit more size, bit more power. I'll tell you what, Henry Pollock, 19 years of age, what a player that kid is going to be. And what I like about him most, obviously a very good rugby player, just the edge that he brings. Reminds me a little bit of Maro Itoje. One of those players that every Northampton Saints fan is going to love. Not just because he's a homegrown lad, but because he's just kind of got it, hasn't he? Kind of in the way that Courtney Lawes always had for Northampton, a little bit of, he'll stand up, puff his chest out and get in the face of the opposition. And Henry Pollock is going to be a player that opposition fans really don't like, because he's going to get under their skin, kind of in the way that Maro Itoje with his celebrating, Ben Earl with his celebrating for Saracens do. And I love that about Henry Pollock. He had a really, really good game, as did Tommy Freeman. Again, an England international that is in rich form. That is boding well for the autumn internationals. Tom Roebuck, though, well, he had an off night. And yeah, Ollie Slightholme definitely got the better of him in the matchup of those two England squad members. Naeth Alevu doesn't look like a great signing for Sale at this point. Scrum was okay for them, and that was about it. I mean, I'd love to have heard what the half-time... They were 40 points to 10 down at half-time. I'd love to have heard Alex Sanderson's half-time team talk. Or maybe we wouldn't love to have heard it, because it would have just been one long bunch of expletives. In fact, Alex Sanderson might have been one of those chats, you know, like where your parent or teacher or something says, I'm not angry, I'm disappointed. I think Alex Sanderson might have given it one of them to his players, because Sale were off and Northampton were on. And they 47-17. The only game that was a mismatch out of the entire weekend. These are the fixtures coming up next week. The final round of games, round 6, and then it's a break for a month for the internationals. It's a bit weird the way the season works like that. You sort of get into the Premiership and it's just bubbling a bit of momentum, and then it goes away again for a bit, and then it's back for a week, and then you got Europe for 2 weeks, and then it's back for a week, and then it goes away again. It's a bit weird, but that is a consequence of it having 10 teams. I hope, for what it's worth, I know everyone talks about you need to play less rugby. I hope at some point in the future there is promotion and relegation, and I hope that there is more than 10 teams. But cannot argue with the level of entertainment that it served. That Bristol, Northampton, how good is that going to be? Two brilliant attacking teams. Gloucester, Newcastle. Newcastle, Boyd, and Gloucester are Exeter are Newcastle and Exeter at the bottom and Gloucester just above them. So Newcastle have beaten the team that were above them. Now they're going to try and beat the team that are one above them again. Bath Sale looks like two meaty packs going together. Saracens, Leicester, classic fixture, and Exeter Quins at Sandy Park, Exeter. There's so much riding on that match for them. And that's the one we're going to finish the weekend with. Loved it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Just well played generally, the Premiership, for a brilliant weekend entertainment. One more weekend to go, and then we turn our attention to international rugby. I'll see you on the next video.